In this episode of the IT Experts podcast, we help you look after number one. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast, the only podcast to help MSPs scale to 1 million, and if already there, get to 5 and go faster. At the end of the day, isn't it all about building a business that works for you rather than you for it? I hope you enjoy the show. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the IT Experts podcast, wherever you are. Today, this podcast is all about you. And we have the amazing Rachel Williams on the podcast this morning. Good morning, Rachel. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you.
Great stuff. Now, we've known each other for a couple of years now through the It-Betweeners, CompTIA and various other communities in the IT space. And your business, I'll let you explain a little bit in a minute, but the reason for this show is to help everybody who's listening to this look after yourself, understand what good and bad health looks like, understand what good and bad well-being looks like, understand what good and bad stress looks like, because running a business is great fun. It's great fun when you're making money and you're getting profits and you're going on holiday and you're treating the family, and that's all that great stuff. But as you know, I learned from a very, very early age in my journey, you know, from the likes of Tony Robbins and one thing and another, if your battery's not full and the engine's not working properly, life gets very, very hard. So today, Rachel and I are going to help you to sort out a bit of a punch on the nose. It's going to be a bit of a vulnerable podcast. It's going to be it might hit you a little bit hard, but if everybody just takes away just one or two actions to help improve their life, their mindset, their well-being, then we've won, haven't we, Rachel?
We have, yes.
Excellent stuff. So who are you? What do you do? Who do you help? And why are you so amazing at what you do?
So I run a business called Zest Lifestyle, and I'm an employee wellness consultant. So what I do is I go into organizations and I help you and your teams get healthier and happier so that you're more productive and engaged at work. But also another thing that I do, a sneaky little thing, is I want you to live healthier for longer. So I want to increase your health span and not your lifespan.
And we were just talking, just as we just preparing for the show, you gave us some pretty interesting stats on how long people are living now, which we know, which is why things like the health service and all that sort of stuff are stretched, because people are living longer, which is a great thing. If you're in sound body and mind, is my kind of caveat to that. Mm-hmm. But what were some of the numbers you were just sharing with me about the illness years, which I've never kind of heard this metrics before? What was that all about?
Okay, so when we're talking about your health span, we want you to live healthier for longer. So stats are at the moment, this comes from the King's Fund, that the average male will live to be 79 to 80 with about 14 years of ill health. And a female will live to be about 84, 85, and that's with about 16 or 17 years of ill health.
That sounds pretty scary, right? We're 3 minutes in and I'm scared. What does ill health mean? What does it mean?
I mean, that could be living with some kind of disability or a long-term illness, somewhere where you might, or something that you might need some kind of care. I mean, you see the amount of care homes that are being built now, and people are maybe being kept alive for longer with medication. But my whole thing is like, well, if you can have a healthier lifestyle, and it doesn't mean living like a Tibetan monk, but live a healthier lifestyle, you're going to reduce these numbers or these number of years of ill health. It's things like reducing the risk of cardiovascular disease, cancers, type 2 diabetes. I mean, type 2 diabetes comes with so many different kind of knock-on illnesses. To do with your heart, well, all your major organs, really, amputations, if you don't do anything about them.
And, one thing for me was, we've had the conversation about enjoying a glass of the grape juice at the weekend. I think that was our last chat at CompTIA. But, my goal was always to be, I want to be fit and healthy so that I can be the best dad I can be for my kids, which obviously grown up quite a bit now. But, you can play with them at the weekend. You don't get a bad back. You're not tired or exhausted. I mean, when you're a new parent, I mean, this was going back a few years now, but, when we had our boys and they're like 24, 26 now, I remember, because I was in my mid-20s, I remember the exhaustion of, having children. And it was like, I need to do something about this. I can't just sit behind my desk and not do anything. So I started running, going to the gym and all of those kind of great things, just to keep fit and healthy for your kids so that you can, be with them. But also, one of the great things about the MSP world that we know of is that it's an incredibly profitable business model when we get it right, which means that you can take good chunks of time out of your business and go and do great things. But there's no point doing that if you keep pulling your back out or you can't walk because it's tiring even to walk up the stairs or anything like that. And it's a really interesting thing because it just kind of like happens to you, doesn't it? Sort of, as you kind of get older, whether you get unfit, I suppose, is the problem that people don't focus on their health. They don't create it as one of their goals because they don't see it being as a benefit because it's not here right now, like your cash flow and your profit. Is that some of the things? How do we help people to bring looking after their well-being and their body as important as their cash flow? There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, I'm going to share briefly my story because, I'm 60, so I try to look younger than my
Get
years.
away.
Yeah, yeah, yep. So my main focus is to focus on the next decade of like reducing the amount of aging as much as possible. However, in my late teens, 20s, and 30s, I was 3.5 stone heavier than I am now. Never did any exercise, used to smoke, used to drink every night, probably a bottle of Chardonnay, dull the pain
Other
of the
wines
day.
are available.
I mean, great varieties are available, yeah. But I was in bad shape. But it wasn't until I was like the age of 37, where I was practically at burnout, did I suddenly think, oh my God, I'm going to be 40 in 3 years' time, and I need to do something to make sure that I am going to be healthier in my 40s and 50s going on. And also, I think the other thing that scared me is watching my parents age. And, they're always at the doctors. And I suddenly thought, I don't want to be a drain on the NHS. And that was kind of my big why to get fit and healthy. And then I did it in about 6 months. So I gave up smoking, cut my drinking down to weekends. I stopped going on diets. I started eating healthily, but I sort of believed that if I ate healthily 80% of the time, 20% of the time, I could indulge in moderation and still enjoy the things that I always enjoyed. And then I decided to get my backside down to the gym and actually start doing some exercise. But I got myself a personal trainer because I had no idea what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So the interesting thing is, out of all that, sort of doing that and saw the changes in 6 months and felt a completely different person. But I wasn't going, mad doing it all and was completely obsessed. But, I was being sensible. So I got fit and healthy. And then, 3 years later, I decided to start a business out of what I'd learned. And that's how I got into wellness, really. And I trained as a fitness trainer, did nutrition, did the kind of mind stuff like neuro-linguistic programming, hypnotherapy, Pilates, all sorts of stuff like that. And then later on, I sort of specialized in sleep. So for me, it was, I don't want to be a drain on the NHS. Now, the NHS 24 years ago was in better shape than it is now.
Yeah.
So if you get ill, who is going to look after you? Are you going to be able to get the care that you need as you get older? So we all have a responsibility to look after ourselves, because if you don't get the care, or you can't get the drugs, there's a shortage of certain types of medication. We kind of need it. We need to leave it there, or the NHS there, for people who really, really need it. And a lot of illness is down to lifestyle. Doesn't actually take that much effort once you get into a habit, and I'm a complete convert. And actually, so is my husband, Mark, because he was actually 3 stone heavier when I first met him, and I've completely changed his life around. So he's fitter and he's healthier. And it's that investment in yourself, but also thinking about, as you grow older, what are the implications are if I don't do anything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you're in your 20s, you don't really think about it. In your 30s, maybe there is that slight change. You're starting families, and you might sort of see the difference. Probably between 30 to 40, you don't notice that much difference in your aging. 40 to 50, maybe a little bit more. 50 to 60, a little bit more. 60 to 70, then you're starting to go into
Yeah.
decline.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is I have got to keep my muscle mass going, because your muscle mass starts to decrease from, well, in your 20s, really, 30s, 20s, 30s. So I always kind of look at old people and think, do I want to be like them getting out of a chair when I'm in my 70s and 80s, where I have no core muscle strength to get out of a chair? Do I want to have to rely on other people to help me as I age? It's like, no, I don't.
That's so inspiring, and it's so, thought provoking as well. So I'm going to chuck an action in here straight away, and I'm going to just ask everyone who's listening to this to say, look at where you are today. Look at your energy levels. Look at where your health would be. I guess your BMI is a good one, isn't it? There's
No,
other.
no,
It's
no, no,
not.
no.
Oh, fantastic. Let's have some controversy. Right. Okay. You take over then. What are the things right now do people need to look at and go, right, these are the 3 or 4 metrics that's going to help me set a goal for the next 10 years in this place? Rachel, go.
Right,
Love it.
BMI, complete waste of time. Because
Oh,
if you are a person that carries a lot of muscle, it's done on weight and height ratio, that you will come out obese if you're heavy.
okay.
So my advice is you can get body scan scales. I could recommend some. Tanita make body scan scales. You can get them on Amazon, most department stores. And if they've got like the basic things on them, which will do your weight, yes, they do BMI. Ignore the BMI, throw that one out the window. Your fat percentage, your muscle weight, your visceral fat. So that's the fat that covers your organs. So if your visceral fat, and this is for both male and female, is 12 and above, this is going to increase your risk of what I call the nasty. So increase your risk of cancer, type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease. So if you can keep that below 12, then you're in a good state. So at the moment, mine's. And then metabolic age is another one. It's your age on the inside, your fitness age. So not your chronological age. And a lot of people I see when I do health consultations, they're amazed and quite actually upset because their metabolic age or fitness age is maybe 10, 15 years older than what they are. So if you're 45 and you go on my scales and you come out as 60, it's like, oh my God, that's terrible. What can I do? So I think they also do hydration as well, and bone density. But I think if you've got your muscle mass, your fat percentage, your metabolic age, and your visceral fat, I think those are kind of key markers. And also just make sure that you measure your blood pressure regularly. I mean, you can get blood pressure
Yeah. Do all this at home, can't you?
monitors online. Yeah, it's like, don't rely on doctors' tests or wait till you called in to do it. Just keep an eye on your blood pressure, because blood pressure can lead to strokes. It's a silent killer if your blood pressure is high and you don't realize it.
So we've jumped on the scales. We've had a bit of a shock of a moment. We know that we are not as fit as we should have been, either through eating. There's one thing that just keeps coming back to me, all the time. And I don't know whether it's true or not, but I've been gifted with a fast metabolic rate. I think my wife keeps telling me this anyway. I've never had too much of an issue, but whether that's because of my lifestyle or whether that's because I'm always active and never sitting down, I don't know. But I'm very grateful for where I am. But I remember in the early days when you're consuming all this, this mindset stuff as you do, a great quote that Zig Ziglar said. And he said at a stage in his life, I knew I was overweight because I've never accidentally eaten anything. And I thought, I thought that was number one. I thought that was quite hilarious. But how true is that? And I sit down and I go, oh, blimey, I'm not shifting this weight or anything like that. And my wife's going, well, your fingers in the bloody biscuit tin every night. Why are you surprised at that? You've just been on holiday, you've indulged, you've eaten all the food you wanted to do, you've had an amazing time. It's all quite good. Now you've got to you've got to, knuckle down and get over that when you kind of get back. So I think there is a big level of personal accountability and personal responsibility as well in this. But let's just talk about what, it's really easy to say, Ian, we shouldn't eat those biscuits and you should go and do a bit more running. You should do this and you should do that. Where do people start when they want to make a change in their health? Because we know it's like, yeah, but I'm going to go to the gym and after one session, I'm not going to look any different. It's going to take months. It's too slow. It's not here in my face. I'm not getting smacked with it every single day, but I know I should do something about it. How do we help people to bring that in the forefront? What do we need to do to get them started?
I guess it's having your why.
Yes, lovely.
It's Simon
Yeah.
Sinek.
Yes, Simon Sinek. Yeah, bring all the books out now. Let's
Yeah,
get.
exactly. Because I think once you've kind of got that big enough why, it's like, why do you want to get healthy? And, as I said, mine was I didn't want to be a drain on the NHS because I could just see what parents going to the doctors every week. But also it's a feeling. It's like, how can I feel better on the inside? And actually some of us, and this was my problem, that I didn't know actually what good felt like. But I always worked to 5 principles, and these are the 5 principles of my business. Is sleep. Number 1, look after your sleep, because so much happens when you sleep. Your body's doing its repairs and all sorts of stuff. Then look after your diet. It's like, well, what can you cut out and what can you replace, or what can you have as treats? So as I say, I'm not an advocate of like just eating lentils the whole time, but so, I mean, good places to start are things like the Fast 800 diet, the Dr. Michael Mosley and Claire Bailey stuff. He's done the 5-2. I'm not so keen on the 5-2 because it's like eat unhealthily for 5 days and then fast for 2, or yeah.
Yeah, you can have that mindset, can't you? And it actually goes eat normally for 5 days. Well, what does normal look like? And then but the first time I did it, it was great. The second time I did it, I said, don't matter if I have fish and chips because I'm not eating anything tomorrow. And you get in this mindset of fast and famine, which isn't healthy, is it?
No, exactly. So, doing I did Zoe an experiment, and that was really good. But they've got like loads of really good stuff on their social media sites for recipes for healthy foods and foods that you should be eating. So, buy some of Tim Spector's books, because I think, they're kind of him, Dr. Michael Mosley, Dr. Rangan Chatterjee as well. I think they're the kind of like my 3 male health gurus that I think are absolutely amazing, and they give uncomplicated advice. And then move more. So if you're not doing anything, do something. If you're doing something, then do more of it. But it's important with fitness, and this is what I struggled with for years, was not doing anything because I was traumatized by PE at school. So, and because I was kind of probably developed as a woman probably before my cohorts, I was slightly larger than the rest of them. So I was given the shot put to throw on
Oh,
sport day. So you can imagine what that did for my self-esteem. And it's like, I'm short, so don't make me do a hurdle. I'm going to bash my shins. And I hated hockey. Yeah. I enjoyed doing country dancing because it meant you could dance with the boys. So I enjoyed dancing. But it's really important that you keep fit, but it's doing something that brings you joy and that you love doing. So, my whole thing is brisk walking. I love coastal walks because I moved down to Dorset last year. But I have joined a gym, but it's group personal training sessions of people who know there's no more than 6 in a group. I love that, and they're all different ages, and it's not one of these kind of cliquey gyms or anything like that. So
lovely.
that is kind of what I enjoy. I enjoy doing yoga, and fitness doesn't have to cost money. You can get an app called Fiton, which is FITON. It's free, and they have so many workouts on there for all different levels. But it's free, and you can get it on your mobile phone or your iPad, or stick it on your telly on the wall. It's just thinking outside the box a bit as to what you want to do, because running isn't the be all and the end all. And a lot of people go, oh well, I should go running. It's like, no, you don't. There's like plenty of other things that you can do. And then we've done sleep, eat, move. So the next pillar is think, which is looking after your mental well-being, and this is looking after your stress levels. And then we have pause, which is all about your rest time, your downtime, taking time out, taking the time out to recharge your batteries. So you mentioned, recharging your batteries at the beginning of this podcast. And we all recharge in different ways. So some of us are what we call passive resters. So we like to, just chill out and read a book. Some of us are active. We like to kind of be doing other things other than work, and that's fine. Some of it, some of the time we want to do kind of both those things. So it's kind of like what brings you joy and what is going to help you relax and rest. So for example, when people go away on holiday, some people might want to just sit by a pool with a good book or sit on the beach. Other people want to get out there and explore because they hate beaches and they hate pools and etc. etc. Or it's doing a mixture of those things. So it's kind of, you have to have that break away from work, and rest is not sleep. It is that bit in the middle, that bit where you can relax.
Actually, your golf, going out for a walk and going back, and then also, you can link that back to your why, can't you? Of what is it that I want to do? We hear a lot of people come and join the Growth Hub, and in there, and the goal setting session that we have at the beginning, lot of the time there is, I want to be able to put my children through private school, and the children might be in single figure years right now, so they want to make sure they've got the money to do that. So if you are in that position, wrap around, what else does that look like? Does that look like being able to be active and having a great time with the family, and enjoying cycling and enjoying being fit and being healthy, or does it mean I'd rather be flat on my back because I pulled my back out and I'm now lying? We unfortunately had one of our clients who pulled his back out, and he was out of the business for 3 months.
Wow.
Now, luckily for him, the business kind of moved around him, which was fine. And the only thing that suffered a little bit was some of the growth. But he's a strong man, and he was not in a good place. It was very, very hard for him. I'm just going to flick back over your 5 points there. Sleep, sleep. I think it was Joe Wicks who made me think about this a year ago. And he said something. It was one of his little YouTube videos or something like that. And he said something along the lines of, if you want to lose weight, sleep more. And I thought, what? I know. So when you're sleeping more, you're eating less because there's less time when you're awake. And I thought, no, that's not. I thought, no, that's not it. And what it boiled down to, which was really key point, is that when you sleep more, and we're all these entrepreneurs and we want to do this and be up late and get up early and do this and burn and hustle and all these crappy words that just do nothing but bring in ill health. When you're, as you said, rested, recharged, you wake up in the morning. So I tested this and I thought, right, I'm going to sleep a bit more. And all of a sudden, you're actually more bloody productive because you wake up in the morning, you're feeling amazing. Therefore, there's more chance of me getting up on a Monday morning and doing a workout. Now, I do some workouts at home through YouTube. And there's this couple I follow in America, and they just use dumbbells. How easy and simple is that? It is in my lounge. It is on a mat. There are 2 sets of dumbbells, and by God, I know about it when I've gone through this workout. And if I do that 3 times a week, that for me is a tick in the box. I don't have to go to the gym. I can't run because my bloody feet have got arthritis, and all those other bits and pieces. I need to be at home to care for my son and all these other. So it just kind of like works. There's so many different ways you can cut this thing. 10, 15 years ago, the only thing you could do was go to the gym, isn't it? That's all you could possibly do. So, the sleep thing was a really interesting thing for me. I think the diet you've got there, that's going to be driven by the numbers on these scales, isn't it? On what you need to do, and those
Or
small.
your waist measurement.
Yes. Okay. Let's cut to the chase. Yeah, your waist measurement. Are you happy with your waist measurement?
So your waist should be or your waist measurement should be less than half your height.
Okay, half your height.
And if you haven't got a tape measure, just get a bit of string.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're not talking about going out and loads. One scale you could go and buy the scales and the big equipment. The other thing you can buy a piece of string.
Yeah.
If you want some string, I can get some branded string. I'm sure
That's low tech.
Yes, Stuart wouldn't mind me paying for some string. This whole move more walking thing, I think that accountability, enjoying what you want to do, I think that's really key. And another thing that I did a lot of running when I was younger, and someone said, look, as you're driving down the road and you see someone plodding on the pavement, it's like going, oh my God, look at them. And it's like going, but they're beating everybody who's sitting on the sofa. It doesn't matter how fast you're running or walking or whatever you're doing. If you're moving to help improve those numbers and improve your overall, health, then you're beating everybody who isn't doing it. And it may be wrong for me to say this, but it feels to me sometimes that the unhealthy habits are now becoming accepted norms. And I say that with a lot of a lot of resistance, because it's like, is that the right thing to say? But I actually really believe that. I think that you look at some of these people and you sort of go back to the Zig Ziglar comment, you're sitting there at McDonald's with the full-blown meal, but I'll get a Diet Coke, because I think that might be doing something for me. And it's like, where's this? It's almost like you want to get some of these people and go, where's this going? Where do you think this is going? Which kind of like flicks back to the beginning of the podcast. It's like, how do you think this is going to do? This has not got a happy ending. What's going on here with your lifestyle, I think is how I'll phrase it, is not got a happy ending. So that's really cool. Yeah, mental well-being. I've been meditating now for every morning since Nigel Moore told me to, about 2 or 3 years ago now. Absolutely massive. And I advocate it and the results that some of our clients have got about their, calming their anxiety, ADHD, autism, whatever you want to call it, with doing that mindfulness as well is so important.
And do you use an app?
Yeah, I use Headspace.
Yes.
Yeah, I use Headspace. And I really get annoyed one day because I missed it about 2 years ago. And it's like, oh my God, I just missed this streak.
That's right.
In the end, I missed this bloody streak because we were at an airport in Heathrow, and it was just like, get up and get on the plane. And it was like, no, and I could have done it any time that day, just for 1 minute. And I failed. It was absolutely...
I know. I think I did it for about 3 years straight, but I've got back into it because I didn't realize I still had
the membership,
and it was like, oh my God, it's just renewed. I didn't even realize I had one. So yeah, I've got back into it now. Yeah.
What's wonderful with that? What I love doing with that, and we love going up to Norfolk and different places around the UK and stuff, is finding somewhere, a bit random, first thing in the morning, out with the dog, and just sitting down for 5 minutes in the middle of nature. And it's just, wow, this is like such a cool, how grateful, how cool is that to kind of do that. So Rachel, as I said, absolutely brilliant show. Thank you very much for the time and insights and the chat on this, because I think we've just flowed through this, and I now need to retitle it, which is absolutely fine. And we're going to do some more podcasts with Rachel on this. This is all about just really simply helping you live healthier for longer. So what's the key summary points, key takeaways, Rachel? What does everyone need to do on the back of this podcast?
Right. Take responsibility for you, because nobody else is going to do it. How many years of ill health do you want? So if you want to live healthier for longer, there's 5 areas of your health that you need to look at. Number 1 is sleep. Sleep is like the number 1 thing for health. Number 2 is eat a healthier diet. Follow the 80-20 rule, 80% healthy, 20% indulge in moderation. So I'm not taking away all those treats that you go, oh, but I can't have this. Number 3 is move more. So do some kind of exercise. If you're not doing anything, do something. If you're doing something, up your game a bit, but do something that you enjoy. It's not all about plodding the streets and running if you hate running. Number 4 is looking after your mental well-being. So watching your stress levels. And we're going to discuss that more in another episode. And number 5 is pause. Take some time out to rest. So whether or not it's active rest or passive rest, just make sure you take that time out of your business. And so rest is not sleep. So it's something that you are just doing where you can recharge your battery. So thinking about recharging your batteries, you recharge your phone maybe every night or several times a day. You need to do the same.
Brilliant stuff. Absolutely love it. And if you had a little jab in the ribs, slap around the face, hit on the head, whatever you want to call it from this podcast, and you want to talk to Rachel to find out a little bit more about what she does, how she can help you, how she can help your business, then how do people get hold of you?
Okay, so my website is zestlifestyle.com. So that's Zest, Z-E-S-T, lifestyle.com. So I work with businesses, organizations, and I do work one-to-one with people as well. So I do mentoring and coaching. If you want daily health tips, you can find me on Instagram at Zest_lifestyle, or you can find me on LinkedIn. Best way to find me on LinkedIn, because there are lots of Rachel Williams, is Zesty Lady.
Zesty Lady.
I think it's linkedin.com/Zesty Lady. I'm doing like daily health tips on all the 5 pillars. That's it for the moment. Yeah.
If you want to send over those links, we'll drop them into the show notes and make sure that everyone can easily access those. Thanks again, Rachel. Been absolutely value bombs all over the place, and I've even written a little action plan for myself as well down here. So Mrs. Dell's in for a shot when I get home tonight. Right, I look forward to catching up with you on the next one. You guys listen out for the next one. We're going to be talking about stress, how to identify, overcome stress, and help out yourself and your colleagues with the most important part of your body, I guess, which is your brain. So thanks again, Rachel. Good luck, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, I'd love it if you could leave a rating and review on your favourite podcast platform. If you want to learn more about how to take your MSP to 1 million, or if you're already there, go faster, then come and join Stuart Warwick and myself in the Scale with Confidence Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. You go and enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.